Before we go any further, we just take a slight look at the methodology that we discussed in the last lecture. It was waterfall. So waterfall works like a water falls down from the hills or mountains. Once it is down, it cannot be taken back. Even if it is possible, it is very costly, right? In terms of resources, in terms of time, in terms of budget or financial stuff or whatever. So this methodology is actually not preferable for systems development project. I will discuss just one more methodology describe with little bit details, but not too much, because these methodologies will also be covered in the next course in 251. So we have to go now towards project planning today. How to better manage systems project. What are the role of project managers in development projects, in systems information projects? How an order is placed in order to ask some company, systems development company, to build a system for them. So we will discuss these things. Okay, so these are the few phases of waterfall SDLC life cycle. Please excuse me, today my voice is a bit, have some problem. Planning, analysis, design. Design have two phases: logical design and physical design. Logical design is independent of any platform. We can take it to anywhere, either it is Windows based or it is any other, it's Android based or it is some other system. So we have to be platform independent. Once it is transformed from logical to physical design, then it is technology dependent. We have to specify what tools or techniques or technologies we have to use in order to accomplish or establish that design. Then finally, there is an implementation. Implementation have different aspects. For instance, it requires coding. I mean, when you write a code in a certain language, it requires deployment. I mean, deployment in a sense that you take that system and install on the organization servers or their systems. So that makes it implementation, and then there is finally testing. So how it runs, we deploy that system for a certain period of time in order to test either the user requirements are fulfilled or not. And along with that, there is always a feedback mechanism, which is what we discussed last. Feedback is provided by the users from the administrative point of view, from the managers, or whoever is going to use in a certain capacity defined by the information system that will be tested for a certain phase. So this is a continuous process. I mean, it does not mean that once it is developed and it is stopped. For a certain time, up to maybe 6 months or 1 year, this will be kept under observation. Okay. Then we need to understand now what is a prototyping here. I will briefly describe that. A prototype, for instance, a prototype is a specific, please, for instance, if you look at your home, just look at the things around you. Let's say a toy car. That is somehow a prototype of the real car, right? Similarly, if you go to some hospitals or other, there is a small scale prototype that is placed. I mean, that depicts that how the overall architecture, how the overall building or stuff that looks like. So prototypes, it's a quick building in order to have some idea. So sometimes the developers do not have any idea, or the organization that want to build a system, they say we need some system, but in fact we don't know how the system should look like. We want to digitize our information, but we do not know our needs, we do not know what are our capacities in terms of developing a system. So what is done, the development team can show them, okay, do you think this is one of the systems that we have already developed, this can serve as a prototype, let's start using it and see if this meets your requirements or not. So the user starts using it, and then they say, okay, this seems to be somehow, it meets some of our requirements but not all of them, maybe in major or in minors. Then they further elaborate, they further explain their requirements to the development team. Then according to those requirements, what they do is they make changes into it and then again send it back to the user. Normally these prototypes are required to follow a methodology that is called RAD, Rapid Application Development. Rapid Application Development is a methodology that is followed when there is a very short amount of time. Let's say the organization says we need a system to be developed, let's say within 3 to 4 months. It's too quick for let's say even if the organization is a bit large, so that would be too short time for them. So rather building a system from scratch, let's give them a system which is already developed and serve and put that system or take that system as a prototype for them. Then they will see either this requirement this system meets the requirement or not. So in rapid application development, it is a software development methodology that uses minimal planning. Minimal planning in a sense because they do not go through the beginning, because it is not from the scratch. It is not built from the scratch. We already hand over them already a builded project. So it requires a minimal planning in favor of rapid prototyping. Rapid means that is quick. Okay, rapid prototyping. The planning of software development or software developed using RAD is interleaved with writing the software itself. I mean, they quickly start writing the code. They don't need to go for a separate phase first. Let's start planning or blah 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 or other things. Let's start analyzing things for. In fact, in this methodology, all the things they runs together in parallel. It's unlike waterfall method where we first spend a certain amount of time or a month or a couple of months on planning, then on analysis, and then on design, and then at the end we start implementing, start coding. It's unlike that. Right from in the beginning, they start writing their codes, and this writing of codes is actually interleaved with the initial planning. Do you get my point or no? If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Because this is one methodology, and after that we will jump onto the project management. So the lack of extensive pre-planning generally allows the software to be written much faster and makes it easier to change the requirements. It's very simple. If you are looking for, you go to, let's say, some market, you ask some, and you know what is your need, but actually to fulfill that need, you do not know what is required, what is the suitable tool, what is the suitable thing that can fulfill your purpose, right? You can go to the market and ask the guy, do you have a mobile like that can perform this and that or blah blah blah? I have only this requirement. I may not need a smartphone. So he can show you, okay, you can use this. I can take that mobile phone, take that system with me and start using it. And later on I discover, oh, this system is not according to my needs. I was looking for that feature which is not available in this one. So I go back and ask him to, you know, the context here is buying, it's not developing. But indeed, we are talking about development. So you can, for the moment, just to understand, you can change your context of buying with development. So you can ask them, can you please develop or add these things which are into my needs? I need to check every day regularly my emails. So your mobile phone does not provide me this facility. So I have to. So he can develop another application that can embed and you can. So this is much faster. You quickly come to the point that what type of system you are looking for. Okay, so there are certain phases for this. I mean, it's requirements planning, user design and construction, they all runs together in parallel, and finally we, once the requirements of the user are met, we put and cut over that. You can see the details here. Right here, requirements planning phase. It combines elements of the system planning and system analysis phases of the system development life cycle. Users, managers, and IT staff members discuss and agree on business needs, project scope, constraints, and system requirements. It ends when the team agrees on the key issues and obtain management authorization to continue. And this is the initial phase for this, that we quickly gather the data from the users, from the managers, from the IT developers or system developers, and then discuss their issues with each other. Once that all of them are agreed on one point, they start working on it. And then is user design phase. During this phase, users interact with systems analysts and develop models and prototypes that represent all system processes, input and outputs. So user design is a continuous interactive process that allows users to understand, modify, and eventually approve a working model of the system that meet their needs. So this is not approved in the beginning. As we said earlier, that they have to propose certain prototype. They have to propose a certain model with which at least they can start working. Then there is a construction phase after the design, focuses on program and application development tasks similar to the SDLC. In rapid application development, however, users continue to participate and can still suggest changes or improvements as actual screens or reports are developed. Its tasks are programming and application development, coding, unit integration, and system testing. So normally you can see here in construction, the major portion that relies on the coding itself, right? So whatever is visible in the system, they have to be agreed on what type of interfaces, forms, and reports should be generated from the system. They quickly work on it, that what is going to be an output at the end. Cutover phase, it resembles the final task in the SDLC implementation phase, including data conversion, testing, changeover to the new system, and user training. So user training in fact is a part of that cutover, because a system is developed before the user actually starts using it. They should be trained enough in order to understand the interfaces, or in order to understand the complexities or procedures or processes involved in the system, how the actual procedures or processes of the organization can be accomplished using. So a certain amount of training is given for a certain period of time. So compared with traditional methods, the entire process is compressed. Why it is compressed? Because it is required for so RAD methodology is used for those projects which needs to be developed faster, which needs to be developed within a short period of time. So the details involved in the waterfall method are unlike the details involved in the rapid application development, in the RAD method. Okay, so as a result, the new system is built, delivered to the organization who has actually who wants the systems to develop, and placed in operation much sooner. Its tasks are data conversion, full scale testing, system changeover, user training. Okay. So until now, if you guys have any questions about these two different methodologies, and one of them we discussed in the previous lecture about, that was evolutionary model. That was a different model in which we take a certain part of the project. We do some planning for that part, do some analysis, then after the analysis we put things together in order to establish its architecture and design, and then we implement and see if we are meeting the requirements of the users or not. When we arrive at an axis known as go no go axis, remember or no? Right? So these couple of methodologies are enough to understand systems development life cycle, and we will come back if we will need more methodologies to discuss. So until now, if you guys have any questions about the phases of systems development life cycle or any of the methodologies, you may ask, and go ahead. Yes.
What is the purpose for this RAD?
What for?
The main purpose.
For the RAD. Normally, this methodology, yes, it is used for those projects which have a very short and limited time. For example, I say I need the system to be developed within 4 months. So 4 months for a company, a little big, even for a middle level company, it's too short time to develop an error-free system, a reliable system. So we use this methodology. We quickly start coding. We directly start with the coding and see if this, and give it to the customer, or we can give an already developed system that might be developed for some other organization or so and so. In market there are several applications available for, let's say, medicine, for hospitals, right? For hospital management systems. You can take your application and ask the hospital, okay, we have developed this application, you can start using it. If you have other needs, you can take this application as a prototype. So they will start using it, and if they say, okay, this application meets our needs, or it does not meet, whatever they say, if it does not meet, this means you can make necessary changes and then give it to them again. So at least right from the beginning you have something in hand that allows you to quickly start your working with the system. Right? Okay. There are several other methodologies that can be discussed later. Uh, Chapter 2 of this book is not that much necessary. So you can go to that. That is very small portion. So you can go through that chapter by yourself. It is given as a self-study to you guys. However, that is not included from exam point of view. So we will include chapter 1 and chapter 2 before the first exam. But also, if we will have sufficient time, we may also go for chapter 3 as well. So chapter 1, 2 and 3, if we cover sufficient part of that. Excuse me. Now, we have actually, until now, we have generally understood the basic mechanism of systems development life cycle. That what are those phases which are required to develop an information system? But we haven't discussed anything about how those systems are managed, right? How those systems are coordinated with each other among the members of that project, right? How to plan them, how to start them. So there are certain phases for that, in fact, of management whenever we start some project. So the chapter is managing the information systems project. There are certain objectives that will be achieved from this. For example, after this chapter, we expect from you guys to be able to explain the process of managing an information systems. You should be able to understand the skills required for the management and effective management of the projects. Then you should also be able to list and describe the skills and activities of a project manager during the project initiation, project planning, execution, and project shutdown. These are normally the 4 phases we will discuss. Whenever a systems development project is developed, we have to run through the management phases, the whole project. So management is responsible how to initiate it, right? How to execute, how to plan. Even before execution, there is a planning. And how to finally shut down the project. When systems are developed, when they are finished, there are proper ways, formal ways, using which the project system, these management phases are shuts down, they close down. So that everyone knows, okay, now the project has come to an end. Because there is a certain, the resources are limited, time is limited. Everyone needs to know where we should stop working on it. So once everything is met, management officially declare and announce the project to be closed. Other than maintenance and feedback. Maintenance runs. Then it's not the part of the development. Okay. And then we will also see what tools are available, like Gantt chart or PERT chart or network diagrams. These are the tools that we will be using how to actually do project management in order to determine critical paths. And we will see what are the critical paths. And we will actually describe the network diagram. And then finally, we see that students should be able to explain how commercial project management software packages can be used to assist in representing and managing project schedules. So commercially, we will also discuss that how we can apply this knowledge to the business industry, to the organizations. And I will suggest you, and even not suggest, I would strongly recommend that there is a case study in your books that we have recommended in the beginning. You have to follow that case study. Most probably in your labs, I'm not sure where are you up till now in the labs. I hope someone of you can give me some feedback about the lab. How is it running and how it is going? Anybody have attended any? How many labs until now you guys have attended? So what have you done in the introduction? Huh? Didn't start it yet. Okay. In fact, these you will be given some activities in the lab, that how to actually plan them, how to analyze the problem, how to make a design, a good design, how to start implementation. Implementation, as I said earlier, is not that much a part of this course, because the course mostly relies on two things. What are those? Systems, analysis, and design. Right? Okay. So, before we start learning about the project management, it is very mandatory for everyone that how important is the project management. Why it is important, project management? Can any one of you give any feedback about this? Anybody have any experience meeting with the project managers in your friends, your relatives, or anyone who's working? Have any idea working with this? Any rough idea? Go ahead, don't worry. Even if it is wrong, so what? We are here to discuss. Okay, even if you had no chance, just give me your idea what pre-assumptions you guys have in your mind about the project management.
Responsible about one things.
Yes, managers are normally responsible, right? For instance, we create a project and say, okay, these are the 4 people working on this project. And I say, you are the most responsible guy. I will ask you, you are answerable for this. You are answerable how to manage the activities involved in the project, and you are also responsible to coordinate with your other team members. It is not my responsibility to coordinate, call everybody and say, okay, you have to do this, or blah blah. So this is the responsibility of the manager, who is going to assign task. And then follow-ups. And sorry? Also, yes, he normally have the full full authority to choose the team members, because he is answerable for this. He has to handle it. So in fact, project management may be the most important aspect of a system's development for some people. But some people say, oh no, maybe the technical aspects, designing and analysis or whatever, or implementation are most important. So there are different reasons. However, we cannot say that this is the only thing that is important in development projects. This is one of the important things management is one of the important things that involved in the systems development projects. So in fact, it is the responsibility of a project manager, PM is project manager, to ensure what? The meeting of the customer expectations. Whatever the customer is expecting, customer is not going to ask a developer or a programmer, I ask this, why you did not ensure this to be in my system? Customer will ask to the manager, and then manager will ask. So this means there has to be a certain process. I mean, it's not like anyone can come in and ask anybody why it is not working the way that I was expecting. So we have to streamline the processes involved in the development. Okay? Secondly, it is also the responsibility of the project manager to ensure the satisfaction of the budget and time constraints. Available budget in terms of finance, right? It is not the responsibility of the developer or designer of the system. This is how that is controlled by the managers. That they have to ensure the project meet up the customer's or client's requirement within the specified budget. If the customer is not willing to pay more, then what happens? So manager has to make sure. And the time is very important, even important more than the constraint. If the development team is not able to deliver the system to the customer on time, then who is responsible for this? He is the manager, right? He has to coordinate with the team. However, sometimes some technical issues involved, they occur beyond the controls of anyone's control, right? Some expertise is not available. Let's say he's a project manager. He say, oh, but before starting the project, there are certain things, certain agreements are done. Programmer leave the company. What happens? For some reasons, there may be a delay, but again, this is the responsibility of the project manager, that he has to hire another guy. He will send his requirement to the human resource department that some programmer was working with us and now he has left. We are running in a short time or whatever. So this is our requirement, we need another guy. So what will happen? The human resources management, the guys in the company, they will look for somebody else and will bring that guy into the system to develop that, to continue the development process. But this will cause delay. So these delays, when occur, there is some probability of the project to be delayed in overall. Customer says, I need the project to be finished after 1 month at all, as agreed in the beginning. But because of certain constraints, that might be delayed. So again, it is a responsibility of. Okay. You can see a diagram here. This diagram is taken from the case study from your book. Okay? So you need to understand this. The case study, I tell you a brief introduction about the case study. There is a company known as Pine Valley Furniture Company. This company manufactures furnitures, right? For furnitures for offices, furniture for homes, and according to in different environments. Now, they are running a company. What do? Is they purchase certain wood or the materials or raw materials. Better to say raw materials. They buy raw materials, they bring them into the company, and whenever they buy things, there have to be certain record for that. Right? Raw material is purchased and then tagged. Tagged means they are kept into the record, they are written properly. There are certain ways for that. And after that, raw material is used to mold and cut to manufacture different types of furnitures. They have to maintain things. Either the raw material they are purchasing really meets their requirements, the furniture they are manufacturing or developing is according to the customer needs or not. Maybe they are buying too much of the raw materials, but at the end, very few customers are satisfied. Right? So they have to keep track. They have to keep an eye on the system from where the raw material is coming and where it is going. Then they have in the company certain employees, definitely. They have to pay them. They have to meet their needs. So if you look at this figure, there are three different systems. One is order filling system, the other is invoicing system, and the third is payroll system. Order filling systems that have three different applications running on it: program A, program B, and program C. And you can see that these systems are being used by the different departments. Order filling system is used by the order departments who normally receive orders from the customers. That customer says, okay, I need this and this type of furniture by the end of this month or by the end of this week. So the order departments, they will receive an order from the customers.
Like requirements?
Yes, like requirements. He will identify the needs of the requirements. Okay, what happens next? And then you can see in order filling system, there are three different types of files which are maintained. One is customer master file. Every customer will have some ID. Every time the customer comes in, now the order department knows, oh yes, this is the same customer who came to us last time, right? So he will tag some identity number for that customer. Oh, this is the customer number 1234. He has already purchased from us lot of things. So maybe the next time when he will come, because he comes every time to us, so we may need to keep an eye on his purchases, what he is purchasing and what not, what are his requirements. That can be compensated in giving him few discounts or so and so. Because that customer is very important for us. Why? Why? They keep coming to us. They rely on us, the thing is. So this is our responsibility to meet their needs. If we do not monitor or keep or track our customers, I may forget, I don't know if somebody came or iPhone, right? So for this is also required for better customer care. What is the next system? Okay, customer master file. The next is inventory master file. What types of materials and stuff? It's not only the raw material that is used. There are other stuffs or luxuries things or accessories which are used to develop some certain type of furnitures. So these things are available in the inventory, in the storage. Their things are placed in a storeroom. So whenever something is taken from the inventory, they update the file. They say, okay, we have, because furniture requires some, let's say, some leather fabrics or some other type of, let's say, some clothing fabric. So whenever something is taken out of the inventory, they have to update the inventory file. If they do not update the inventory file and things are removed from the inventory, what will happen? I give a quick example. For example, you guys eat al-bake happily? How many of you? All, right? Me too, even. Is it ever happened to you? You went to the al-bake. Oh, I need spicy nuggets, and they say, oh, sorry, this is not available. How he knows? He goes back to the storage and see, oh, we are sorry. I mean, whatever. Because when the spicy nuggets were purchased, they were added into the system, and every time they sell one box or one item or one order, they update the system. That is automatically updated. This is what they are doing. So whenever they say there is 0 in front of spicy nuggets, they are, oh yes, it is now not available in the inventory. They do not go back because time is important. They may say, please wait, I can go and let's see if there is no or no. And then will take a lot of time. So inventory file is, then there is a backup order file. In order to have back order and just to follow up. Once an order is placed, they have to follow it if the order is maintained or not, if it is fulfilled or not. Then in another system, there is an accounting department. What is the responsibility of the accounts in any organization, by the way? Have you guys studied accounting or not? Any familiar with the accounting? Any familiarity with the accounting? I just give you an example. You guys have an account at the bank or no? How many of you have an account? Right? You're getting money into that account. Okay? Whenever some money arrives in your account is credited. And when you take a money from your account, it is debited. When money comes in, it is credited. When money goes out, your account is debited. So in fact, to keep a record of these debits and credits is the responsibility of the accounts department. Right? They are maintaining their charts. Who is taking, which money is going where, in which account, from sales, from orders to sales, from sales to management or blah blah, and then it goes to a certain apply. I don't know the actual procedures of the company, but to keep an eye on these things, financial matters. So this is the responsibility of accounts department. They generate invoice. They are responsible to generate invoice. You know, when you sell something to the customer, you definitely have to give an invoice. Albeit gives you an invoice number or no?
Yeah.
To the customer. You take an invoice, fatura,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So this is the system that is responsible accounts department to generate invoices. And the third one is payroll department. What is the responsibility of the payroll? Payroll is maintaining a file of the employees. What pay is, I mean, this is responsible to give salaries to the employees. Okay? If there are, let's say, 500 employees in a company, that is a huge number to manage the salaries. Some people working at the manager level, some at the developer level, some people are working at the low level, or so and so. So everybody has different salaries, different benefits, different structures, different breakdowns of the salaries. So everything has to be maintained. It's not like, okay, I say, this guy have salary ABC, I give this number 1, 2, 3. Okay, this guy have a salary, okay, go away. This guy have a salary, go away. At the end of the day, I never know how much salary, how much amount of money has been given just in terms of salaries. If we are maintaining this thing, at the end I can understand, oh, this month I have given this much amount as a salaries. Or maybe in the beginning of a project, I will allocate some budget only to the salaries. That these are my employees. I must have to have a salary for my employees for, let's say, 6 months, for 1 year, and so and so. Okay. Now, payroll system is maintaining a file that is employee master file. Now you guys understand what is the actual problem, what is the requirement of Pine Valley Furniture. They have different systems running on them, but they are all different. We need to develop a Pine Valley want to place an order. Pine Valley Furniture, they want to place an order. To whom? To whom? They have identified their requirements, which are described in this figure. They want an order filling system, they want an invoicing system, they want a payroll system, and the main thing is to integrate them all in one system. We don't want to use separate system for everything. So they will contact, this company will contact to whom? They will contact to a development team. Now there is an example. If you see here, if you look at this example, this is the system service request. System service request for purchasing a fulfillment system with name and contact information of the person requesting the system, a statement of the problem, and the name of the contact information of the liaison and sponsor is written, everything. Now this is actually the formal way of a company that want an information system to be developed to a development organization, to a development company who will develop a system for them. So this is a request, a service request, system service request. So you should understand first, what is a system service request, SSR? A standard form has a standard form for requesting or proposing systems development work within an organization. So this means using the system service request, some company can write down their problem, that what they actually need to develop, and fill out a form and then hand it over to the development team. If there is an agreement, they will continue. Agreement on, the company says, oh no, I do not develop these kinds of systems, sorry. I only develop computer vision systems. I only develop surveillance system, monitoring system. I only develop tracking systems. I do not develop information systems, which are run across the different organizations. Right? So the company has to be agreed. Either they do provide this service or not. Certain companies have limitations. If I do not have, for example, I have a company and I only develop information systems. I do not develop surveillance systems, computer vision systems for monitoring. Cameras are watching, like Sahir system, for instance, that is using cameras, taking images, monitoring speed. The system is deployed throughout the country. That is developed by a certain company. Not every company develops such systems. So the company has to be agreed first on the request, and then the later details will continue. Now, so in fact, system service request is placed on this type of form. The customer will fill up this. So he will write down, you can say it is requested by a certain name on date blah, by the certain department, location, contact information, and type of request. They can say here, for instance, if you look here, the type of request is they want a new system to be developed. There may be an existing system which they can ask for an update to modify according to the new requirements which are identified later. System enhancement or system error correction. What are their needs? So customer will specify. Do you get this point or no? Then a problem statement. That is quite a long details. You can go home and read them. They have specified and put together all this problem that we have discussed in that diagram before. Okay? If you have any questions until now, you can ask.
In the exam, how the question will be about the diagram?
Question can be asked in terms of a multiple choice question. That can be asked in terms of a true false. For instance, I can ask you the simple way. Just let me answer. For example, I can ask you, okay, maintaining an employee master file is the responsibility of the order filling system. Is it true or false? This is just one example. But this is very simplest possible example. So, in order to further understand the things we have discussed, some details might be missing. You can find those details in the book. So, you have to study the book.
The exam will be from the book or the slide?
From both. From both. If I say the book, it covers the slides. But if I say slides, this means few things may not be covered in the book, because Detailed version of the contents is available only in the book, not in the slides. So from today's point of view, you need to understand project management, why it is important. And second thing, how customer places an order to the development. There are certain formats. These forms are designed by the companies, so you can design your own form as well. At least, look at this. And then there is a service request. They have defined their problem, and then they have made a request for the new system. Okay, and then there are a few things. Anyway, this is just a sample. Please keep in mind.
The company want to develop the hair system or build the new system.
They have mentioned, customer has clearly mentioned that they want a new system. This diagram is actually, this diagram is not about the system. It's explaining their existing procedures, their existing departments. But the problem is everyone is using his own system. If the payroll system or the invoicing system wants to track an order in the ordering system, they would have to ask this guy or that guy. He would say go there, he would say go there. The information is scattered, right? So for the invoicing system, for the people who are working there, it is not possible to track some informations which are scattered in the system, in 3 different systems. So they want them to be together. They want to integrate them so that everyone can have some access. However, there are certain things about whom an access is not given to everybody. For instance, can you guys see my salary? No. This is my personal thing. So this information is not available. However, my salary can be seen by my department chair or maybe by the other higher ups under whom I am working. So certain access is given and is defined properly. Is the time? Okay. Then, along with service request, they need to do some feasibility. If I go to the company and ask them, can you develop this information system for me? The company will not say, oh yes, we will do this for you. They will first take care.
The service request, that's mean distribution.
Service request is to put an order, to ask for a certain service. Let's say you need at home an STC internet connection, right? So what you do is you put a request, you send your request to STC, and those people, they come again and then install their modems, their other things, or routers, or etc. So you are actually putting a system request to them, to STC, who will bring their system to your home and then will install. The good thing is those systems are already developed. Those systems are already, they just have to deploy them on the customer side. But here, in this, the form that you have seen, the system that customer needs still have to be developed, right? Okay. As I said earlier, if I ask the company, can you develop this system for me? the company will not immediately say, oh yes, we will develop it. They will first do some feasibility study on that system. Feasibility study will determine either this system is possible to develop or not. If they are agreed, the development team is agreed on, they will have a meeting together and they say, okay, if the organization provides us an access to their data, some organization or some people, they do not share information. This is another issue, and we will discuss about that later. Sharing of information. Development company wants to organize and integrate all possible information, but the people, they do have their files, they have their register notebooks under their tables, they do not share it. This is another issue. But anyway, a study that determines whether a requested system makes economic and operational sense for an organization or not. So they have to ensure this in the feasibility study, that the system that I would request as a customer, this would be ensured by the development company. Is it really feasible? If yes, go ahead. Okay, any questions until now? No questions? No question means all is right, or all is misunderstood or not understood. But I hope the later one is not true, right? The former is true. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and now we will take an attendance.